No, I don't. And America, do you know why Greg Jennings looks the way he does? And you can kind of tell in the suits, but if you follow him on IG, you can definitely tell. You know why? Because Greg Jennings every day walks past delicious restaurants, goes to the grocery store to buy his dried rice and vegetables and nonsense he eats every day, and doesn't pick anything up off the, the checkout stand. This Snickers sounds good. Because he knows what needs to be done to achieve his goals.
Disciplined.
Saquon Barkley is a delicious dessert that the Eagles don't have the luxury of, but they think they do. I go down the Eagles' list of needs. Highest paid running back in this market's free agency, which I told you guys either Philly or Dallas was going to do. And everyone's going to be like, oh, my God, look at this Photoshop of him in an Eagles jersey. Oh, Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Saquon Barkley, scary hours. Yeah, but that's not why they lost. They lost because the entire back seven of their defense stinks. So this offseason, you know what they've done? They've added another D lineman for a lot of money and a running back. Their running game and their pass rush is good. The back end of their defense is bad. So, no, this is not the team that should have been spending almost $13 million a year on a running back. But it sounds fun and it's exciting. So, no, I don't like it.
They overspent. I'm surprised. Look, I'm happy for Saquon. But I'm surprised that he got this much money. DeAndre Swift got $8 million a year. I thought he'd get a little more than that, maybe 9 or 10. Look, still, it's $12, $13 million a year. It's not going to break the Eagles. They definitely need to do something with that defensive backfield. But when they lost Swift, they need a running back. Saquon, my only concern is his health, but I'm going to try to be optimistic and say, hey, Christian McCaffrey had health concerns at one point. So if he stays healthy, he is a better back than they've had, even as productive as their running backs have been the last few years. He's better. I think it's a fine move. It's a lot for a running back, but it's not a lot of money overall. So I'm fine with it.
Okay. Yeah, I like it. I like it. You got to do something. And I agree with what you're saying. Defensively, we know where their woes were on that team. But if you're going to compete in this NFC against teams like, well, it's not a bunch of teams, but teams like San Francisco 49ers and Dallas Cowboys, you got to have weapons, and your weapons have to show up. This kind of tells me they feel like Jalen Hurts needed a little bit more help.
And he did.
We have to find someone that we know can give us a little bit more. I'm not saying that DeAndre Swift couldn't, but he's not Saquon Barkley. He doesn't garner the attention that Saquon Barkley. When you look at the 49ers, what do we see? Christian McCaffrey in the backfield. We see Debo. We see all these weapons, and I get it. It's a different.
But also, why do they do that? Because they've always had a limited quarterback.
I understand.
Dude, what do they pay Brock Purdy?
They used to.
$1 million bucks.
I understand.
What do they pay Jalen? Second most of anyone in the league.
I understand that as well.
I mean, or third
They
most.
got tons of weapons, though.
Yes.
Now with Saquon.
Go ahead.
I just feel like part of the reason why you do this is to help and assist your quarterback who clearly struggled last year. You can say he was hurt, he was laboring, what have you, but he struggled last year mightily. He took a step back when we look at what he did the previous year to earn himself that contract. So I think this helps him as well.
Do you think there's any chance that Howie Roseman did this deal because he thought Jerry Jones might grab Saquon?
Well, I suppose that's possible, but Howie Roseman, I think, he has maybe too much of an affinity for drafting Georgia players. But aside from that, he's a long track record of success. If I see my divisional competition is going to make a mistake, I want to let them make the mistake. I just don't know how much evidence folks need that the big, shiny running back acquisition is not going to get you over the top. The one exception might be San Francisco, but C-Mac, yes, he dealt with injury issues. Saquon's been healthy 1 year of his career.
Well, fully,
all the way
17,
through. And
16,
Christian McCaffrey, I think we all agree, is a better back than Saquon is.
Yeah.
Now, maybe coming out of school, it wasn't that universal, but what he's done in the NFL, I understand the arguments everyone's making. And yes, this should, when Saquon's healthy, make their offense better. And it'll be nice to see Saquon on a team, see what he can look like when defenses can't just focus on him.
Correct.
I'm excited to see all that. But if you're Philadelphia, you can't have one of the top 3 most expensive quarterbacks. A.J. Brown, super expensive. They're going to have to pay Devontae Smith. They hired an offensive-minded head coach to do all these things. Now you also need the running back. You also need the expensive running back. Then something's wrong.
Oh, you got San Francisco.
You know,
what are you gonna
really
do?
quick, you know what
Because
this
their
tells me
quarterback's
as
$1
well?
million.
Like this is a head coach that is on the offense side of the ball that understands I got to do something. I got to make sure and ensure that my side of the ball, if nothing else, delivers.
Yeah. Okay. I want to get to some Danny Dimes talk, but maybe later in the show.
Maybe
See what
later.
the Giants
Maybe
are up to.
later.
Russell Wilson headed to Pittsburgh. Official?
He
Or
threw
you're just saying
he
it?
threw as many touchdowns last season as Kenny Pickett has thrown in his 2-year career. 24 starts, 26 touchdowns, or 13, no, twice as many.
What were those
13
numbers
touchdowns.
last year career when it was Baker Trask and you were all in on a competition? I'm just curious. When it was because Trask was at 0 career touchdowns because he's at 1 career pass. No, I'm just curious. Like, why is he more entrenched?
Because he's
first-round pick
clearly
Kenny Pickett?
better than Kenny Pickett.
Fold.
Right.
That's why. It's not even close.
Who's folding?
Kenny
He should
Pickett,
fold.
24 games, 13 touchdowns in his career. Russell Wilson had 26 touchdowns last year, and it wasn't even a great year for him. I'll say this. If Russell Wilson can't play well in Pittsburgh next year, he is absolutely washed. Because you got George Pickens. Maybe they're going to trade Deontay Johnson, but maybe they got to get some other receivers. So they're probably going to have receivers. They got the tight end. You got 2 good running backs. You got a defense that they made the playoffs last year at 10-7 with the worst quarterback play in the league.
You got Jerry Jeudy. You got Javonte Williams. You got Cortland Sutton. You got that defense.
No,
man.
that wasn't this good. If Russell Wilson doesn't, if he can't play well with them, then he is done. I think this is great. Okay. The division is crazy, but
and they have the worst quarterback.
He can thrive
in it, right?
there. Not necessarily. I don't know. Deshaun Watson might be. I mean, honestly, Deshaun Watson hasn't been great. We'll see, but there's some good quarterbacks in that division.
And it's going to be a quarterback competition in Pittsburgh. Wow. Like I just don't.
I mean, he can name, but you don't think Russell's going to beat him out?
I'm not saying that he won't beat him out. What it's going to be, you're not just going to, unless you trade away your first-round pick, you're clearly saying we've given up on you. You're not going to just
agree
allow
that they'll go through the charade. But Russell Wilson will beat out. He will be their starter week 1.
He may not. But to say he's going to thrive, I don't know. There's still a question mark. I still question who he is at this stage in his career.
I know, because you're snake bitten. You were burned this year.
Hold on, why do you?
You went all in on Russ.
And you were burned the year before. You went all in on Russ.
But then he improved last year.
You know,
he played.
Who's
He
the
wasn't
only
great,
person
but he
on the
played
stage
solid.
without any need of gauze on their hands? This guy right here.
Classic
Who told
one.
you?
No, but you're saying he's going to be terrible.
Classic one.
Thank you. I appreciate you having my back, even though we had the little ugly Mac Jones incident 20 minutes ago.
It wasn't
well, I mean, you
I didn't
embarrassed
let you
yourself,
be
but
right.
that's fine. It
I
doesn't
didn't
matter.
let you be.
You did a good job
The
on that,
Patriots let me be right there. Just like the Broncos let me be right here by saying, here's the deal. We can have you play for us or take an $85 million cap hit to have you play for literally anyone else. And they're like, we'll do that. And then the NFL market looked around and said, the minimum. The minimum.
But he wants the minimum probably to punish the Broncos.
Can I ask you a question? I agree he would do that. Do you think he would like a multiple-year deal?
Yeah.
Like 1 year.
That's fair. He wanted 2.
Yeah.
He wanted 2.
Yeah.
They gave him 1.
And
But
so-
go out and what did I
it
say
has to
last
be
week? This is good for him.
Yes, and I'm saying, and what I'm saying is this, because everyone is just so much, I guess the word is nicer than me, but I feel like maybe I'm just more, I don't want to say more honest, but Greg said, I have questions. Why do you have questions? The answers are there. He's not good anymore.
Is he better than Kenny Pickett?
He's not. Yeah, he's going to be the starter.
Because I could put up a blind reveal that I don't have, but his numbers rival Trevor Lawrence.
That's right.
Last year.
That's great.
I mean, let's keep it
if
real.
We can just compare everyone.
Because Trevor Lawrence wasn't good last year
That's
either.
fine. But the market, again, will dictate all of these things. But what I am saying is, yes, I don't think there, just like I said there wasn't a competition between Baker and Kyle Trask, there is not going to be, they will call it a competition, but Kenny Pickett is not even a fringe starter. No. And Russ at this point in his career is a fringe starter. So he will win that competition. But the Steelers they did not get demonstrably better now. They still have the worst quarterback situation in football. Or I'm sorry, in the division. In the division, pardon me.
Maybe. I mean, you won't admit, and Deshaun, I would love for him to get back to Houston, Deshaun. But you're saying last year was Deshaun Watson better than Russell Wilson?
Last year he showed. Listen, I don't think Deshaun was good last year. I think there's a better chance that Deshaun has another good year in him. Russell Wilson has had Pete Carroll give up on him, got Nat Hackett fired, had Sean Payton give up on him, and then the entire marketplace looked at him, and this was the best he could do.
The best he could do?
Yes.
This is a great situation for him.
For a 1-year, $1 million deal is not a great situation.
No, it's great because this is what he needs. It might not be what he wanted, but it's what he needed.
Based on what he wants in trying to win a Super Bowl, if you're going to go
Super
you're
Bowl.
not. This is what he said.
In the 6 hour meeting, he talked Super Bowl.
You weren't going to go.
Guess what he was talking about a few years ago?
Super Bowl.
No.
Yes.
No, he's talking about MVPs. He's talking about, I want to cook. Look at Tom Brady. I want to be like that.
Yeah.
Now, forget all that cooking. Forget all the MVPs. He looked at Mike Tomlin and said, I just want to win now. He's been humbled. All right?
Of course.
He might be
People,
washed.
when they
We'll
get
see.
fired,
but I'm
get
saying,
humbled
right.
and go to the next job interview like, I just want to be a part of the team.
No,
Greg.
no.
I just
I
want to do
think
what
he
I
means
can.
it. I
You
think he's
don't walk
Greg
in.
is just
You
so
don't-
gun shy because he went all out on the limb. They're going to be better than the Chiefs and all that.
He was right.
I'm telling you.
He got half of his frustration correct.
Thank you, Wright.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.